Hey team, you're watching Hide and Sneaks, and we just had the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny, and I released a video about that talking about the shoes he was wearing on his feet. Now, a lot of people at this time of year go back and do a bit of a deep dive at past Super Bowl halftimes, and it got me thinking, if we got such a good response talking about what he was wearing this year, then I'm not alone in being a sneakerhead who wanted to know what's happened in past years, so I wanted to do a deep dive on the last 10 years of Super Bowl halftime shows and the sneakers that were worn. So let's get straight into it and start off with the most recent year of 2026. Now, as we know, 2026 was the year that Bad Bunny performed, and Bad Bunny has done some incredible stuff in the past with the likes of Adidas. He's done a lot of collaborations recently on models like gazelles. He did some stuff with the ballerinas, but at 2026 at the halftime show of Super Bowl, he decided it was a fantastic opportunity to release his new pair. Now, it's not just a collaboration, it's actually his own signature shoe in partnership with Adidas called the Bad Bow Ones. Now, if you look at the shoe, there's a lot about the shoe that is reminiscent of some of the current sneaker trends that we tend to love as sneakerheads. If you look at the shoe, there's a lot of layering, there's a lot of design and materials very similar to the New Balance shoes. I also look at the shoe and see so much of the DNA of the Jordan 11 low IEs. Just again, the way that it's kind of created in the panels on the shoe, that layering, especially when it's a similar block color or cream or neutral, it does have a lot of that DNA and flavor. So I can definitely see why the shoe is going to be very popular, but I don't know what the longevity of the shoe is going to be, because I think we're very much in that dad sneaker shoe era now. And I do think we've been in the dad sneaker scene for quite a while, so I don't know, maybe it's going to change up soon. That said, still a very good take with Adidas and Bad Bunny. Moving on to 2025, and 2025 was the year of Kendrick Lamar. Now, Kendrick Lamar took this as an opportunity to fire a few shots at Drake. I'm honestly surprised he didn't stand on a pair of OVOs to make his point, but he did make a really good point with the shoes he was wearing on the day. Now, Kendrick kind of made a bit of a statement on the day with his shoes, and it wasn't anything loud or political. It wasn't launching a new pair. It was the fact that he wears the pairs that he likes, almost like he's just trying to be what he is, a man of the people, and wore a pair that was really affordable, super easy to get. You could go to your local Foot Locker day after the Super Bowl and still buy this pair. And that was the Nike Air DT Max 96 in the Colorado Away white black colorway. Now, as I said, super accessible. The fact that he was wearing quite long jeans covering up most of them, it was very understated. Now, the Nike Air DT Max 96s are really cool shoes. First of all, they're designed by Tinker Hatfield, so they've got the best of the best designers behind this overall shoe. It's also a signature sneaker of Deion Sanders, so it's definitely got some NFL legend history there. And more importantly, and I think this is a really weird fact about the shoe, apparently the kind of claw marks on the side is inspired by Jurassic Park, which I think is absolutely cool, and I think has semi-influenced the Jar 3s that we've seen released recently. So cool to see that kind of legacy is carried on in current pairs still to this day. Moving on to 2024, and 2024 was the year that Usher held the Super Bowl halftime show. And he was very loud in the outfit he was wearing, but he was also very loud in the sneakers he was wearing. Now, if you looked at the shoes, you probably thought, oh yeah, it's just a pair of Jordan 4s, but it actually wasn't. It was actually a custom bespoke pair of Jordan 4s designed by the Shoe Surgeon. Now, the Shoe Surgeon, for those who don't know, is one of the biggest names in sneaker customization and has done fantastic collaborations for a number of celebrities. I don't know how that sort of situation plays out now, because he was teaching classes about how to customize your shoes, and that got him into a bit of legal problems with the likes of Nike. Now, to simplify what he did in the custom, he effectively had a version of the motorsports that he turned the white into a silver sort of patent leather treatment, and then added a couple sort of nods to the Super Bowl and Usher himself on it. Ultimately, really clean pair. We know that Usher likes to be really loud. Usher had that pair of Jordan 11s that was all gold, so he's very flashy with the Jordans that he wears, so it's very fitting, especially the fact that he was wearing a full sparkled suit. Now, when I was researching this video, I'm actually surprised that's all of the performers I can talk to on the night. Obviously, the likes of Ludacris and Little John performed. I would have thought, being rappers, they would have had some really cool sneakers on as well. But when I went back and watched the video, they're just boots. Now, we don't really talk about boots on my channel, so I'm not really sure what they are. We weren't wearing sneakers, so we're gonna move on to the next year. Moving on to 2023, and 2023 was the year of Rihanna. Rihanna rocking a full red outfit. I thought she would have been wearing boots or some sort of heels in my mind. When I went back and watched the video, it actually was a pair of sneakers, which is great because it means we can talk to it on the channel. Now, I have never once talked about this brand on the channel, but hey, there's a first time for everything. Were the Solomon Cross Low drawstrings in the MM6 Mason Margiela Fiery Red colorway. Well, that's quite a mouthful, and is not something I expected to be talking about, because I was actually surprised that this shoe was something that you could easily get. A quick search on resale platforms like StockX and GOAT, you can actually still find this pair for sale, and it's only like a couple $100, so it's nothing crazy. It's not hyped, it's actually super affordable and super wearable. Not sure of the history behind this. Again, first time we talked about Solomon's on this channel, but again, I just wanted to make sure we had full transparency on the pairs that we were talking about. Moving on to 2022, and it was the combination of hip hop greats at LA. Now, no surprises here, there's gonna be a lot of fantastic sneakers. We had the likes of Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, quite a few heavy hitters, and obviously hip hop and rap is so associated with streetwear culture, so you know throughout their careers, many of them have worn some great sneakers. So I was really curious to look back on this video and see the sneakers that were worn. Some were surprises, some weren't surprises, and some I was not really sure, so I'll need your help. Starting off with Eminem, which had the biggest sneaker on the day. If you're a sneakerhead, you're probably aware that Eminem has done some amazing collaborations in the past with the likes of Jordan brand. They've been super limited, really hard to get your hands on, and for some of the most elite level of sneaker collectors, these are the pairs that they often chase. And the pair that he was wearing on the day was the Jordan 3 Slim Shadys, which effectively was a Jordan 3 Fire Red with custom Eminem Slim Shady details on it. I think the craziest part about the shoe is if you look at it from the front, it really just looks like a normal pair of Fire Reds, but it's very much an if you know, you know, which is kind of similar to a lot of past Eminem collaborations. Then moving on to some of the other performers, because it wasn't just Eminem performing the solo, we also had it started off by the likes of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, who went for a very humble and kind of grounded back to their roots flavor of shoe. Snoop himself just wore a pair of white Converse with the laces swapped out, so that was really interesting to see such a simple take. And then you've got Dr. Dre, who was wearing a triple black pair of Air Force One highs. Now we know the stories behind people who wear triple black Air Forces, so maybe stay clear of Dr. Dre. Now in terms of the other performers, obviously Mary J. Blige was wearing like knee-high boots, so I can't talk about those, and I couldn't really see what Kendrick was wearing. It looks like he was wearing more sort of dress shoe or boots for his outfit, being tying in with his suit. And then I looked so hard for the likes of 50 Cent. He's wearing some sort of white sneakers, and no, they're not his old Reebok G-Unit collaboration. So if anyone knows what those shoes were he was wearing, I've Googled all over the internet, I reverse image search, I just couldn't find this pair. So if you do know, please let me know, it's my missing piece of this video. Moving on to 2021, and now 2021 wasn't your typical year for Super Bowl halftime, as it was influenced by COVID. There was social distancing, not as much stagecraft, and it was done by the likes of The Weeknd. All that said, The Weeknd did a fantastic job, but there was a lot of restrictions in terms of what he could do. And he doesn't really have a lot that we can talk about. He was wearing a custom suit, and that was then matched with a pair of loafers, but we're not really loafer people on this channel. Just interesting to have that context if you wanted it. Moving on to 2020, possibly one of my favorite Super Bowl halftime shows of all time. Such a good medley and combination between JLo and Shakira. It was full of energy, and who knew it was going to be one of the last performances we'd get before the whole world went down into lockdown. Now in terms of sneakers, there were actually quite a few examples shown on this. Starting off with J Balvin. Now J Balvin wasn't the main person on the day, but he was coming out to support and rap alongside JLo, and he was rocking a new pair of his shoes, which was the J Balvin collaboration on the Jordan 1 highs. Now the shoes themselves hadn't yet released at the time. This was their kind of platform for them to premiere. You've got that rainbow patterns and that kind of cut up texture. They really feel like a customized sneaker. It's definitely an acquired taste, but hey, he does a lot of sort of bright colors in his overall personal design and style, so it does make a lot of sense, and it did have a lot of popularity because he ended up having a number of collaborations with Jordan afterwards. Now 2026 wasn't the only year that J Balvin was performing at the Super Bowl. He also came out and rapped alongside the likes of Shakira, and in that he was also wearing another pair of sneakers. Now interestingly, in that short 6 years of time, he'd gone from being a very heavy Adidas ambassador to, at the 2020 Super Bowl, wearing a Nike pair of shoes. In fact, he was wearing a customized pair of Nike mid blazers, which is very interesting because when you do often customize shoes, when you're of that sort of status, you don't use such a kind of chill general release model. You would often go for something a little bit more elevated. So I think that was quite cool to see. It did time with his overall silver outfit, and if you did want to customize a pair of shoes yourself, mid blazers is a really affordable pair to have a crack at yourself. But it wasn't just the boys who wore sneakers during 2020. Shakira continued to rock the show and add to her musical talents and dancing. She's even a sneakerhead potentially, because she was wearing an all gold pair of the Adidas Superstars, which looked really cool, really loud, and I think it's very understated, but it also was something that was still very obtainable for people who are watching the show to go out and get. Moving on to 2019. Now 2019 was the year of Maroon 5's performance in conjunction with support from Travis Scott. Now, Travis Scott, since 2019, has done so many collaborations with Jordan. Not only does he have his own signature model now with Nike, but the collaborations with the Jordan 1s, the 4s, the 6s, they just keep coming out, and resellers have been eating them up. Now, being early in the collaboration phase with Jordan, this was a fantastic opportunity for him to showcase some of his big, popular, upcoming sneakers. And actually, he got Adam Levine to wear one of his pairs, so they both were rocking some of his new hyped models. Now, Adam Levine was rocking the Jordan 1 High Travis Scott in the Mocha colorway. At the time, it was the only high of the Travis Scott collaborations. More would then come out, but this, for a lot of people, is the favorite pair when it comes to the high models. And then Travis Scott himself was wearing his collaboration on the Jordan 6, which was considered quite game-changing at the time, where it took the two sort of bubbles on the side of the shoe and made one a stash pocket. So this sort of collaboration was unique for the time, but now we're kind of used to it, and we're still subscribing to buying every Travis that we can. But it was quite cool to see some of those real kind of desired and chased for pairs were launched in such a cool platform. Moving on to 2018. Now, 2018 was the year that Justin Timberlake did the Super Bowl, and he had some really cool shoes on feet. And those shoes were actually based on an unreleased sample and design of Tinker Hatfield. When Tinker Hatfield originally designed the Jordan 3, he designed it with a Nike swoosh on the side, but ultimately went on to not follow through with that decision. Years later, they went on to release a number of Tinker Hatfield's designs with the Jordan 3 featuring a swoosh, and Justin Timberlake actually wore the pair that was based on the white cements at the Super Bowl. One of the cool things about this though is you could actually go and get that pair yourself. It wasn't some hyper-release sample or design or one of one. It was something that you could go out and buy, and a lot of people still refer to this pair as the Jordan 3 Super Bowl. Moving on to our final year, which is 2017, and that year was the year that Lady Gaga performed. Now, I watched this video end to end looking out for any sneakers that Lady Gaga wore, but unfortunately there were none to be found, and I'm pretty sure my viewers don't care too much about the fact that she was wearing Versace boots. Well, that takes us to the end of 10 years of halftime Super Bowl shows and looking at their sneakers. Now, if I look through all of what we've just seen, I'd probably say I think Justin Timberlake's probably my favorite because of that lore and tie back to Tinker Hatfield. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite pair was for this video, and please, if anyone knows what those 50-cent pair were, let me know, because it sucks that I wasn't able to give every single sneaker in the past 10 years. I'm really holding on to that. Until next time, guys, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.